All right. So Sophie Hedge is our guest speaker today. We might have a couple of people who might accidentally have their video cameras on, and we'll tell them to turn it off real quick. Maybe. Couple more people. Anyway, for everybody else who is here, remember you can always ask questions in the chat. I might not see it right away, but hopefully I'll be able to see it. And towards the end, I will definitely open it up for questions from all of you. So, by the way, for all of you who are on here from my professional practice class that used to be called branding, let's start out with a quote that I have from Sophie on my iPad that says, when I was looking for her some links to share with you guys, and she said, links to my LinkedIn, I'm behind on my website project. But if it makes you feel better, I still have nightmares about failing branding, so it evens out. So, by the way, she did just fine and she kicked butt. But just so you all know, that feeling that you've got, it's part of it. But then when you got done with it, it was amazing. Of course, you had a branded show. We actually had a show.
Yeah.
We don't get to because of COVID. Enough about me. Sophie, I remember when you showed up in my class by way of Austin. Wait, was it Austin that got you in there? How did you?
Austin Sandy, yeah.
Austin Sandy, who was our first conversations with designers last semester in September. It all comes full circle. Yeah, right. Tell us about that. How'd you become a graphic designer?
Oh, okay. So this is actually super fun. So when I was in high school and starting college, the only two things I did was theater and band. That's all I knew. I've been doing that since junior high, before then probably. And so obviously I went to college and I double majored in theater and band. So I'm going through, and me and Austin had been really good friends because we both did theater together.
And band, right?
And band, yeah. So we did both together, and we'd been friends since we were like 5th grade. So so there's this thing called juries, and if you don't know what that is, basically, so it's as terrifying as it could possibly be. So you're on a stage, and there's literally a single beam of light, a music stand, and a chair, and all the professors are in the audience, and that's it. And they all look like they would rather have like a colonoscopy with barbed wire, and they sit there and they watch you. So I played. I didn't get through my piece because I started bawling, which I do think it was probably more like a panic attack now. And I walked out and I have my bass clarinet, and Austin's like, "You good?" And I was like, "Nah." And so we just got to chatting, and he was like, "So what do you want to do with life?" And so one of the things I always liked with band and theater is I loved designing the costumes, coming up with like kind of the gimmicks of the show, which in a way was my lead-in to campaign development. It was kind of that step. And, you know, when I started my music degree, I was going to do composition. Well, everything, it had gimmicks to it. It all had pieces to it. So kind of identifying that's kind of where I'm good at and what I've always been doing. And I've always had kind of, everyone's like, I've been artistic. I've always been kind of an artistic person. But it wasn't just like, I draw good. It was kind of an all-encompassing thematic thing that I would always do with band and theater. So Austin knew that, and he was like, "I think you'd be a good graphic designer." And I'm just like, sure. So still with my bass clarinet, we go to Curtis's office, and I change my name.
Curtis is the old, it's what Dr. Balducci does now, the old chair. Did he have his did he have his mullet still?
It was minutes after the chop.
Oh, we love Curtis, by the way. We do. He had a glorious mullet for a very long time. Carry on.
So yeah, so I walk into Curtis's office, and he assigned me to Joe Ford, and Joe Ford was my advisor. And I go to Joe Ford and I get my classes, and he was like, "Well, are you sure you don't want to do like costume design? Because a lot of graphic designers come in here and they actually want to be costume designers." I was like, "Well, I was already a costume design degree." He was like, "Oh, well, perfect. You're going to be great." So that's how I landed on graphic design. But in a way, I was unintentionally doing campaign development, and I was t-shirt chair for literally any organization I was in. So I know that's such like graphic design 101, design a t-shirt, but that was the thing I loved. And I loved, you know, whenever something would need to be laid out, like they were bad, but like theater programs
You
and
got a
stuff.
lot better. I don't know what you did before, but just so you know, you guys, she didn't.
I mean, whatever I could accomplish in Word, that's what I did.
You got better.
So that's kind of where that started from. So I started college. I didn't change majors. I didn't become a graphic designer until my junior year, but I did have this music and theater background, which I think really gave me a new perspective on how I handled things. Because especially with the theater portion of it, I got to kind of see things more in a 3D space, more in a kind of more like in a guerrilla marketing space, because I'm used to people, action, things happening. So I utilized what I had learned from marching band design, visual design from marching band, and kind of applied that towards graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got here.
All of a sudden, it's like, do you think it's just that you're an amazing storyteller? Do you think that's it?
I think that helps that I have kind of a theatrical mindset about things. And so when I think about pieces, you know, for me right now, our big focus has been direct mail pieces. And if you don't know what a direct mail piece, that's like, if I wanted to target Nikki, I would make a piece, I would ship it to her, I'd do the copywriting, and it would be a piece directly to Nikki. It's not a wide net piece that I send out to everybody. So I use that because everything, you know, I utilize those like musical movements or marching band or theatrical elements to tell a story with the campaign I'm developing. And I think that's one of my strengths as a designer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I could tell. Did I first have you in typography, or was it, I mean, we probably forgot, or was it ad design?
I avoided every class that you taught until the last minute.
Right. Because you thought I was scary.
I did. But I realized she's only scary to the ones that don't do what they're supposed to do. It's this weird thing where if you do your work right and you do it good, Nikki's not nearly that scary. So
I've also softened a bit, or have I? Everybody's like, no, she hasn't.
everyone's like very thankful she doesn't have her camera on.
Well, so by the way, what has been your, so let's go back to what year did you graduate, the year you took branding, now called professional practice? Did you?
So I don't know if you'll remember this, but I was the majorly pissed off one at you. So tea time. Because
surviving.
Because I was one of those people who didn't just start with a graphic design major, I was a junior. So what happened, but it turned out to be a great thing. Let me clarify. So I'm a junior, I'm looking up my classes, and it was a situation, I couldn't remember exactly, but I wanted to take campaign design and branding at the same time so I could graduate on time, because branding was only offered like spring odd, one of those kind of mix ups. So I remember I came to you and I was like, hey, will you be okay with me doing ad design class and branding? And you were like, that's going to be miserable. No. And I was like, well, what if you did? So I came, and my last semester, I only had branding and portfolio, or is it professional practice? Is that the class?
It's called professional practice. Yeah.
So I apologize. For me, it was branding.
I was confused at first because it used to be called campaign design, which wasn't ad design. Anyway, carry on.
Whatever. It was two classes. I couldn't take them together. And so what happened, all turned out.
And portfolio was still independent study, right?
Yes. Yeah. So, so what happened is I was pissed off and mad because now I've got to pay for 5.5 years of college, and I'm going to be an old woman by the time I graduate. And so I took that opportunity and I got as many internships as possible. So the first internship I got was because of the Foundation of Arts campaign that I did. They had chosen
We still use them a lot, but you got an internship with them?
Yeah. So they saw my They chose the campaign we developed and hired me as an intern for the summer to brand them. They didn't use it, whatever, to brand them and give them brand standards. So that's what I did. And then that summer I had AutoZone call me back. So AutoZone called me back after I got done with my summer internship. So I got to do a second internship with AutoZone. But because I only had 2 classes, what I got to do with AutoZone is I said, hey, so I've only got 2 classes. Do you want me here as much as possible? And they said, heck yeah. And so I got to do like a full term internship at AutoZone the second semester.
Oh, which by the way, for you guys who are listening, so she means AutoZone, like as in corporate headquarters in Memphis, as in not the AutoZone on the corner, like the corporate headquarters.
Fortune 300 company.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where at first it's kind of like, oh, AutoZone, that's not sexy. Oh, hell yeah, it's sexy. They got they have amazing brand equity. Everybody knows who they are.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anyway, how was it working for AutoZone?
AutoZone was great. It was great, and it was terrifying because you were a small fish in a big pond. You know, they had 7 stories there, and the 4th floor was only for marketing and sales operations. And you're having to meet with like heads of HR and stuff. And it's just, oh, that's the other thing is because I was during the school year. If you go intern at AutoZone, I definitely recommend doing it because they're right across the river and like they're really great. But if you do it during the summer, they have like an internship program. So there's like little classes, you know, they do little like preparing you to be an adult classes. And think of it as a summer camp in a way. Not that you're doing less work. That's not what I'm saying. But because I went in the fall, they were in work mode. They were just like, oh, you're working. And so I'm saying they're 2 different experiences. We've had plenty of people who have graduated who've done both. You get 2 experiences. So I was in the fall, so I didn't get I got the like, we're working.
Right.
Let's go.
Go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you learn a lot really fast, and luckily the designers at AutoZone are really good about working with you as an intern to help you figure out what you need to do to make things work. And there is probably where I got the strongest in typography, because I don't know if anyone has ever seen an AutoZone catalog, but it's a nightmare. There is enough words on one of those coupon mailer things to it physically hurt me at some points. But I can also guarantee that the thing is, you had to learn quickly about hierarchy and readability, and because you make one mistake on that thing and it's seen. Now, the other thing I would say that I appreciate is, as much fun as being in classes and being a student, that's where you learn the dirty stuff, the stuff you don't care about, the print processing as much, like, how to communicate on emails, like professionally. Sorry, I just found out my computer is not plugged in. How to be an adult class is what it was like at AutoZone. And you were getting lots of feedback. And I think there was always a level of anxiety that was like, oh, this is going out to, let's see, I did a coupon mailer and they were like, yep, this is going out to the US. And I was like, the US? And they were like, yeah, everyone. And I was like, ah.
I hope there's no misspellings in there, you know.
Yeah, in all 6,000 words. And then, so if there's anything I can say about all my experiences I'm probably going to talk about, it's always look for the opportunity to learn. Even in the worst situations, you're going to be like, there's something there for you to glean from that experience. So was that the end of the question?
We're just going. I like.
Do you want me to just keep talking about like where I'm at now and
okay, how did you? All I know is that didn't you have a job like pretty soon after you graduated?
Yeah. Well, one thing about me is
you can communicate with anybody, and you're not scared, and you just do it. And you should all. How are you not scared of communicating with people? Do you think of it like you putting on a costume each time? Like, is that part of what theater taught you?
I think it's not so much scared. It's I don't think it's like I'm still just being me, and I think that's the biggest thing is I'm being me. And I have a very take it or leave it attitude. I'm like this is what you get. But I think as
But
far
you're
as
not
the being
rude.
scared,
You're not
huh?
rude though. You're not rude.
I
So
think the thing about um I think the thing about it is I'm not scared to network. I'm not scared to call people, talk to people, email people, take a risk. And I think um, the only thing is that I have this mentality of if I don't do it, nothing's going to happen. So I might be, maybe I am terrified. Maybe I am terrified to talk to the creative director of AutoZone. Maybe I am. But if I don't, I'm never going to have that opportunity. I could literally like vomit after the conversation, but they're not going to know that. And the thing is, what's better, have the conversation and it go terribly, or never have the conversation?
what
I
are
think
your
that's
what is your advice? And we've got, I mean, there's a lot of students on here in professional practice, but there's also some others on here. So what would be your advice to people who are nervous about networking, remembering where they are in life, as in they're just getting out of college and starting?
I think a lot of people also give you I would utilize this time right where you're at to play that I'm a student card, because people will have lower expectations of you. That's just the truth. They do, because they're like, and that's not somebody with 20 years experience is going to be better than somebody with one. That's no one doesn't think that. And
Right.
especially when you're starting at, ground zero. And the thing is, if you're applying to a place that's more than likely, if you're applying for an internship, you've got two people. You've got the person who has put out an internship because, well, I got to get this done. And I don't know, I want to pay somebody $10 an hour to do it. Um, I mean, you're going to have to make the best out of this situation. And they're probably not expecting expecting you to be fantastic. Other option is maybe a scenario where you've got people who know what they're doing, and they know what they're doing and they know what they're looking for. So they're looking for those strengths in type, not perfect. No one said anything about perfect type. They're looking for that. Okay, this person understands hierarchy. They're a little bit, they got some letting issues, but that's an easy fix. So they're already looking at those things and going, eh. So don't be afraid to network. And also, people want to help you more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't out to get you. And if somebody gives you that attitude of like, oh, you're not worth my time, they're not worth your time. The minute that I'm about to get hot. One of the things I hate about the design industry and the marketing industry and the advertising industry is the excessive elitism and the idea that excellence is region specific, which is a load of bullshit. And if anyone tells you otherwise, then they're secretly not a good designer or marketer or advertiser. They're just hanging on to a title. They're hanging on to some experience. So if they want to look down on somebody because of where they're from, their age, or I'm too much of hot shit to have to worry about a student intern, you don't need that. And we don't need to keep progressing this idea that that's okay in the industry.
Right. Right. That's true. Now, by the way, a little for you guys who are listening, and then I'd also like your opinion on this, Sophie. If you recall, when I have students write their resumes, and they've already had their internships, though you should get a ton of internships, that I make it, I try to have them word things. Can you not use the word student? Can you word it in a different way? You never lie, but you don't say, I
You're
had
a
to do
young
this.
professional.
What was that?
You're a young professional.
There you go. It's all how you massage the copy. It's all how you say, but if someone doesn't, like when you're networking though, like at an ad fed local thing in Jonesboro for Northeast Arkansas, then absolutely play the student card, right? While you can. But if you are sending out resumes to places far outside to people you don't know, you then don't play the student card for a job.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of what I'm going to say, so going back to I am who I am, right? Like I don't try to put on a persona. So I remember my cover letter when I sent stuff out. Sometimes harsh honesty also helps. I sent my letter out to a bunch of people, and I remember in it, I said something like, you probably took I said something, the first draft was very similar to like, you took 2 seconds of my resume, saw that I didn't have an official job and that I just graduated exactly 1 month ago. And I already know what you're thinking. And I said, is it worth it? Is it worth the risk to take somebody who has no experience? And then I said, but here's where you benefit. And then I switched that narrative of like, yes. So I've openly, first line of my cover letter, I called them out for thinking, oh, we don't want a student. And then the second line, I talk about, I am a student. I am. I graduated December 2017. It is January 2018. Let me tell you what I've got coming for you.
Yep. And how long did it take for you to get a job?
So now for me, I was very upset I didn't have a job lined up when I graduated. So I had to get through that.
So rare, by the way, you guys just that is so rare. Okay, carry on. Even without a pandemic, that is so rare. All right.
So I graduated December 2017, and it was January. And so AutoZone let me continue my internship while I was applying at jobs, which was really helpful to me. And all I had, they knew that I was kind of, I'd be like, I have a job interview today, or I can't come in today. I've got to work on my portfolio. Like they were very flexible with that, but still I had that kind of steady income. And then they were like, hey, sorry, it came February. And they were like, we got to get our new intern in here. And I was like, thanks. So I scrambled and I worked at a sign shop in Paragould, Arkansas for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going back. You might be thinking, a sign shop, 3 weeks. I got paid $10 an hour. I had no benefits for 3 weeks. Okay. And I still learned a ton.
Oh yeah.
Job in 3 weeks. And I was at my job, and then I had done an interview with Camphil, and they called me for an interview. I went into my interview at the end of February, and they offered me the job at the interview, and then I started in March.
And Camphil, I think in case you guys don't know, Camphil's a big deal in Jonesboro.
Yeah, so it's an international company, but we have a branch in Jonesboro because our manufacturing prices are so cheap. Fun fact.
When Veronica, a former student, everybody, when she went to Sweden, right? Yeah.
Headquarters.
What was that?
So she went to headquarters. So Vern left. Claire Case, Claire Case took that position. Then Claire Case left for ASU, and then I took Claire Case's position. And I communicate with Vern because she focused more on communications. And I took over the design portion of the APCs. Sorry, APC is a branch of Camphil. There's Camphil APC, Camphil A and B, Camphil blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Vern was working at Sweden at the main head office.
That she got by way of working in Jonesboro at there. Yeah, now she's back and she's doing other stuff, but yeah. So then when did you go on to Optus?
Oh, so I'm gonna put in a lesson in this one too.
Oh, we get a lesson.
We get a lesson. So I stayed at Camphil for about 1 year and 5 months. And the reason when I got my job at Camphil, my initial response was, I'm going to do this job and then I'm going to get out of Jonesboro, Arkansas because it sucks. And I'm going to do something really sexy. I know I'm 23. I'm going to be the CEO of Coke by the time I'm 25. And so I was like, I'm going to stay at Camphil.
Goal driven. That is a big part of Sophia. She's very goal driven.
Well, and throughout this conversation, we're going to discuss how that's been hurtful to me and how I'm in a much better place mentally. Mental health's important. If you don't take anything from this conversation other than take care of your mental health, guys. So I was like, I'm just going to leave. But the thing is, and the way I would, advertise myself is I go, so the thing about, just briefly, Camphil, they make industrial dust collection. The only reason there's an industrial dust collection market is because the government says that we have to have clean air in factories. So the thing about it is Camphil sold the most expensive dust collector. It's not a sexy product. No one wants it. They just have to have it. And it's possibly, and your target market is like maintenance men. So take those 4 things and let's just have the hardest thing to design and campaign for in your life. An ugly metal box that no one wants to buy. Oh, and Camphil sells the most expensive one on the market. Market that for me.
Oh my gosh. But you did.
So the way I did it is I would say, listen, we don't learn about B2B in school as much because it's not as common. So B2B is business to business.
Listening, B2B is business to business.
So
yeah, that's hard. It's really hard. Go ahead.
So like Pizza Hut is business to consumer. So they have pizza, they sell to you. Businesses, I have met a business and I want to sell to another business. And it's really weird. So I'm doing industrial B2B marketing and design. So keep in mind, I have a graphic design degree, but I came in as a marketing specialist and I'm like, sure, I know what I'm doing. Other tip, lie, pretend you know what you're doing and then learn how to do it.
You guys do know more than you guys coming out with your graphic design degree because of how we teach at today's state.
Amen. Whatever. Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Carry on.
So, it was just like, so when I would talk to people, I'd say, listen, for the past year and a half, I have had to market a product that's ugly, no one wants, and it's the most expensive on the market. If I can make that look sexy, I can do whatever you want with your brand. And that's exactly what I said when I transferred to Optus. Now, so I stayed at Camphil for about a year and a half, and I started to get this like, okay, I'm learning a lot. You know, I did a lot in After Effects. I'm starting to, you just have to feel it with your gut. Like it was kind of like, and then a friend of mine reached out, who graduated with a marketing degree, reached out and said, was like, hey, we've got this position at Optus for a creative marketing specialist, which is one of those catch-all words that you will find is just like, we need you to do a lot of stuff because we don't have a lot of people and it's all going to be creative. You're going to do it all. And I read about the company and I read about the atmosphere and I knew a few people. And so I applied for it. And that's exactly what I said when I came to that position. And, I was just feeling it out. And in my head, I was like, no, this is my body telling me it's time to move on. It's like, all right, Camphil, Optus, Coke. That's the way this is going to go.
That's next.
Yeah, that's the next one. And so I moved to Optus. And the biggest thing with Optus is, and the reason I'm still there, and I don't really have any intention of leaving yet. And the thing is, I'm able to have this transparency with my bosses, is I have so much more to learn and they are giving me opportunities. They're giving me the freedom I want. I can walk in there and come up with the wildest idea, and just utilize it as a campaign, and they're all for it. Now, what Optus does is they do IT solutions. So I could go into it.
B2B? Is that B2B too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's also B2B, which is why they liked me from Camphil, because I kind of understand how it works.
Which I just want to remind all of you, graphic design degree, went right on in, figured it out. B2B. Yeah. I mean, the first time when you went with Camphil. Just want to remind all of you who are like, but the job opening doesn't say graphic designer.
No, just go in there and flaunt the fact that you also can design. Yeah. And so I went in there, and what I've discovered is—
Wait, one more thing, because it's about me for 1 second. Any of you who have taken ad design with me, which I know is not all of you, but if you've taken advertising design with me, you can apply to any marketing position. You're fine. You're fine. Okay, carry on.
So I applied for this position with the full intention of moving on. So I get in my position and I'm showing out. I'm trying to find ways that I can set myself apart. What am I going to do differently than the last person? What am I going to improve on that the last person did? I think one of my strengths as a person, in general, is just I'm incredibly self-aware. in the terms of, I know what I'm bad at. I know what I'm good at. And I think the sooner that somebody can figure out what those things are, the better they can get. I'm going to go ahead and say this now. I'm not the strongest designer. I'm not. You know where my brain is? I'm more of a campaign person. And I know that I have those campaign development abilities, and I'm utilizing that. I also know where my design limits are. So I continuously try to push those limits, because you're constantly learning. If you think there's a point where you quit learning, that's a lie. If somebody's like 70 years old and was like doing this in like Mad Men, you know, kind of like 1960s on Madison, like, no. The minute they quit learning is the minute they quit being a good designer.
Yep. Hallelujah, sister.
So, you know, I feel like I'm just jumping around. So
That's okay. That's okay. We got to finish
so,
the next thing. Go ahead.
So I know my strength is campaign development. I know my strength is campaign development. So I tried to shift the way we do things to kind of focus on the quality of the campaign, that the copywriting. I've been doing all the copywriting, the what the message is, what the story is. And maybe I don't have the strongest design. Maybe there might be some of y'all that I could say, hey, I need this, 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 and you'd make a better design than me. I don't mind saying that.
You're an art director is what you are, by the way. You're an art director. Yeah. And any of you guys who do not know, who haven't taken ad design, I see some people who might not. Copywriting, she doesn't mean the legal term copyright. She means you're writing the words, copywriting.
Yep.
I think, yeah. By the way, we have questions to add. There's like
questions.
I didn't
know if I should ignore them or not, but.
Okay. So let's see. Let's go back to, even though we usually wait for questions. Well, it's already 6:35. How did that happen? Okay.
I talk a lot.
Well,
I'm long.
Get along well. What is your creative process in creating a theme, ideas or concept while in a group or by yourself?
So this has been something until very recently. We just hired Whitney Blackburn as my boss. And so until then, most of the positions I've been in, it's just been me rattling in my head, which coming from a student, you know, y'all are working, well, I guess not this COVID year, but you know, you're working in the lab and you can just turn around and be like, Brittany, does this suck? And like, you get to kind of have a conversation, you know? So I kind of had this loneliness in a way when I was working, where I felt like I was having to rattle ideas off myself, because it was like, Sophie, is this good? Well, I don't know, Sophie, what do you think? Because everyone else is just happy you did something. So my creative process is, remember that as designers, there is an artistic element, but as a designer, you're a solution maker. You're creating a solution to a problem. So don't immediately go in and view it as a art opportunity, as an illustration opportunity. Yeah, just like that, actually.
Yeah.
So you're trying to find a solution. So I'm just going to give you an example of mine. Okay. So we needed to target the VPs of IT to switch to a type of technology that's cloud. So the information that we're wanting to switch to is that it's cloud technology. You don't have to have any equipment. Okay.
And you know your audience already. First thing is, you know your audience. Okay.
Yeah. So we targeted, who are VPs of IT at this point? We targeted, they're usually 40 to 50-year-old men who frankly are kind of dorky. And they have some level of education. Okay. So we've gathered that information. So then I had to go and I was like, okay, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them to switch to this new system. So thinking in terms of IT people, technology people, you know, more than likely they're always on the up and up. So we gotta figure out a way to kind of burn them a little bit. So I was like, what if we tell them that their technologies from 1980, and if they want to keep using that technology from 1980, that's great. Keep doing it. So we did a campaign talking about don't get caught in the past, switch to UCAS. The program is called UCAS. Just deal with it. So we took that knowledge and we found what the solution was, and we said, what gives you inspiration?
Keep on going. Keep on going.
So basically I had to start with, what's the solution we're looking for? We're getting people to change. Why do we want them to change? Because their systems are outdated. What are things that make me think of outdated? like retro stuff makes me think of outdated. So you can go two routes with that. So you can go like super sleek, and you can say, okay, let's make this a real sexy campaign. We're going to do really expensive printing, and we're going to be like, welcome to the new, like, like dorky car commercials that are like, they make you feel like you're saving the planet, but also you're just buying a Nissan. Like, we could go that route. So that's a route. Or we could go, so different route is like retro. So we were like, let's play on the 80s thing so we can play on that nostalgia. And no head of IT wants to hear that their IT equipment is outdated. So just kind of going through and starting with what solution, what we want them to do, and how we might get there.
Yep. Sorry, I'm trying to participant stuff. By the way, though, so it's really important of what I heard about all of that is that you are indeed, coming back to what you said, it's about understanding exactly what the problem is and what you're working with. And then you come at it with ideas. You don't do ideas, then try to go backwards and try to make it fit.
No, because not everything's going to fit. Even if you do have a really cool idea, it sucks.
You're gonna be able to fill it if you don't have, yeah. All right, cool. Let's keep on going. Do you have any advice for us college students in transition into adulthood? The entire idea of going and applying to big people jobs is terrifying.
I know, right? Do it a lot. So the first thing I would say is make sure you're networking. And I'm sure a lot of you just rolled your eyes behind the camera because I'm the 6,000th person to tell you to network. Okay. Right. All right. There's a reason we all say to network. You want to know a fun fact? Nikki, I keep telling Nikki, sorry, my website's not up. My website's out. And I promised myself I'm going to keep working on it. But I took it down after I was like, oh, this only shows my schoolwork. I don't want just that. And then I just never got to it. Do you know why I've been getting jobs? Because people have come to me who are like, hey, I remember you from XYZ. Hey, I remember you from XYZ. And they come to me with positions.
Yep. That's how networking is. It's word of mouth.
So I haven't had a portfolio website or an active social media for my work in 3 years almost, because 2 years, because that was when I decided my work was outdated, because I utilized my networking and being involved in AAF and being involved in AIGA and being involved in as many things as I could get myself into. And it sucks because sometimes you don't want to go as a 20-something-year-old to this lunch and learn that's about the marketing secrets that kept America great, whatever. You don't want to go and hang out with that crowd of a bunch of people that work at a bank. Like, you're not, but the thing is, those people have jobs, and regardless, you're going to learn something.
Yep.
So network, because it's going to make your life a lot easier. The second thing is just be vulnerable.
Did you use, just wondering, and it's okay if you say no, when you were first beginning, did business cards matter, or was it more just a matter of people would remember you?
Business cards didn't matter so much, but they liked mine because they were weird.
Yes, they were. I remember.
They remembered them.
They were on corrugated cardboard, weren't they?
They were on pizza boxes that I saved because that's all I had money for.
Neat. All right. Did you take their business cards?
Politely.
Okay, ignore it. Don't listen to her. Don't listen to her. Okay, carry on. That's okay. You also could keep eye contact and keep talking the whole time. By the way, how important is eye contact when you're talking to people?
I mean, that's just the not rude thing to do. Like, regardless if you're a designer, just look at somebody when they're talking. Like, I know, sorry, that's not a difficulty for me, but I understand that's not the case for everybody. Do your best. And if you can't, look right here. And
all right, let's see. Would you say that if you feel like you have nothing left to learn, that's a sign to move on as far as from a job? I know exactly when Autumn wrote that. Is that?
As long as you're talking in terms of the job, I feel like if you feel like you've outgrown the place, yeah. If you've exhausted everything you can at that position, and there's nothing left for you to learn there, yes. Now, that's part of the reason why I'm still with Optus, is because I'm realizing it's okay for me to live in this moment and to utilize what I'm learning working at Optus. You know, I was just given the opportunity to code a website on my own. They were like, could you do this? And I was like,
and
yeah.
You've never done it before. And didn't you say, how long did it, you just figured out how to code?
And yeah, so I did that with the help of the internet. And worked on that site. I'm not saying it's the best site. No one's going to
You
say
coded
that.
it by hand.
And so, I utilize that, and then we use WordPress, and then we go in, and to make some of the things that we needed to make it do, I had to learn how to code them. So, going in and learning that. And now I've got this new boss, and it's Whitney Blackburn, and feel like she's spoken to y'all. Has she not?
Not in conversations with designers, but she's probably come in to speak for Professor Leslie's class or Professor Kim's. She hasn't
Anyway,
mine, but Whitney's great. She's amazing.
She's absolutely incredible. So I'm like, okay, I've got this boss who's going to be able to teach me more. And now we're going to rebrand the company. So that's going to be another effort because I've never been in a rebrand. So I'm going to learn that. And then, the biggest thing I'm learning now is with this website stuff, SEO, which is search engine optimization. The short of it, there's fancy words, fancy ways to do things to make your website pop up on Google faster.
Yeah. A long time ago, a million years ago, kids, a million years ago, when Sophie was such a babe, we used to load up the code with crap. Yeah, that doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work. No.
So now that's a focus. So I'm adding that to my tool belt is SEO, Google Analytics, and then I'm about to do some user experience training in the second half of this year. And I'm going through a rebrand at the same time, and I think we're going to work on the logo also. So, I'm seeing a lot of opportunity to grow and to expand still. Right now, I'm very happy. I've got great work-life balance. They're giving me the flexibility I want. I've got great bosses. I've got a great CEO. That might change next year, and that's okay. But it's also okay for me to be
moving to Atlanta soon. You don't have any plans of moving? Coca-Cola is headquartered in Atlanta.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You plans of moving to Atlanta soon?
Only because I see the benefit of soaking in the moment now.
Yeah.
Taking in the information now. I am 26. I will get to Coke.
And you know what, you guys? Usually when people say that, I'm like, okay, yeah. I believe Sophie. I've believed it since the day that I met her. She just kind of, now you guys, she does have she has an amazing sense of confidence that is not, I don't know, I'm not saying that you and Professor Kim Vickery are the same person, but she has the same thing where it's like, you don't think she has confidence. I mean, she does, but you don't think that she has, like, she can do anything. You guys, like 2 weeks, I swear, before she's like, hey, let's find a way to get to Disney. And she just does for the school. Like, she has this magic ability, but not in a way of like, I'm the one in charge and blah, 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 blah. Like, you're like that. So if you're just like, you walk in and it's like, you just have this presence. How do you do it? Tell the students how to do it. They fake it?
Fake it till you make it. That's a good one. But also, you are you for a reason. We're about to get real existential here. We're about to get some real deep soul stuff.
I got my Buddha over there. You want me to light a candle? Okay.
That's what this is. You are you for a reason. You have strengths and you have weaknesses, just like every other person on this planet. Every person that you interview with, I've had plenty of people who are older than me that I know what weaknesses they have, and I know what is incredible about them, and take who you are and put it out there and just say, this is me. I'm going to do the best I can for you, and it's going to be great because it's me being me. It's hard to have that kind of self-assurance. I know that's difficult, and it's a lot easier said than done. But just come to acceptance with come to terms with who you are. And the minute that you're like, I'm Sophie Hedge, I'm really disorganized, I'm not the best designer. I have a tendency when I get mad to not want a solution. I just want to yell about it. I struggle with XYZ. I'm also Sophie Hedge. I'm really good at ideas. I think I'm a really caring person. I've got some pretty cool style, I like to think. And I like to do, I'm not the best at cooking, but I like to eat, be okay with who you are. And that's a lot easier said than done. And I know it, but the sooner that you have that, the sooner you can kind of have that confidence of like that uncocky I just said cock a lot. I'm very sorry. We're recording this. That confidence that's not irritating.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And can you have what's the worst that could happen at, like, let's say any of these guys hopefully show up at a lunch and learn for AdFed and they don't know anybody there, but they've seen you on here and they walk up to you and introduce themselves to, wait, what are you looking at me weird?
No, I was trying to read the comment. I couldn't read it.
Oh, okay. Like, what's going on? It's AdFed. You might have heard of it.
So what's the worst that could happen at AdFed?
Let's play the what's the worst that could happen.
You go to a lunch and learn and you learn whatever the topic is of the lunch and learn.
And let's say they walk up to you and at first, and they're like, hi, I saw you on the Confidence for Designers. I don't know why you would come up and talk like this, but, and hi, my name is, I'm just gonna say Fred. I don't know if anybody here is named Fred, but like, my name is Fred. Hi, you said to say hi. What would you do? That's not a worst case scenario. What would you do?
More than likely you're talking to professionals, you know? So if that happened to me personally, or anybody, one, I'll probably remember and be like, oh yeah, you're that A-State student. What'd you think of the talk? Like that'd probably be kind of where I go with that. But you're probably talking to a professional and they have to be used to talking to people that are strange because no office is totally normal. So let's say you just flubbed and you went up and you talked and you were just, so if that's exactly what you said, you did the conversations with designers and hi, you know, more than likely to be like, oh yeah, what'd you think? Or, oh yeah, that was a good time. You know, if they're equally awkward, they'd be like, that was a good time.
And there are some awkward people too. And what if they said something like, hi, can I exchange business cards with you? So I can, what would that be like for you? I know you're not a business card person, but you know people do that at AdFed. You know they do.
I mean, you're right. But I personally get a little bit, okay, can I tell you one thing that I did that I think helped? Mm-hmm. Because I hated business cards and that's why I made mine out of pizza boxes. I'm talking cheap, dirt cheap. I would make little bitty portfolio books and I would keep like 10. I'm talking like copy paper printed and just spiral bound. Unless you're talking with like a design person, you know, they might tear it apart. And if you were like, you know, I've actually got like a small copy of my portfolio and resume. Would you like that? You know, just kind of be like, no, this isn't my official one. If you ever want to talk sometime and I can bring you my portfolio box or I can look at my website. Wait a minute. Y'all don't do portfolio boxes. Y'all do websites only now.
We don't. We do a digital PDF and a little tiny box of stuff that they can have. Not quite so much with
okay.
paper, but yeah.
So basically just kind of like, here's my website, you know, I would almost keep copies of your resume with you more. So what I did is I had like this, I would make like a cheap little spiral bound copy. I'm not saying that's the best solution of just kind of like a portfolio with my resume in it. And I'd give those to people. I'd just hand those suckers out because it tells a lot more and it's already your business card. And then I would always be like, you know, this is just a little something that I always have with me. I keep a couple copies, but if you ever want to look at my official portfolio box, because I had a portfolio box, or if you want to look over my website, I'd be happy to get any feedback you might have. I'd love to learn from a professional. You know, I'm kind of starting out, but I got big dreams and big goals and, you know, kind of go that route.
Yep. By the way, it is already 6:52. I know it flies. Do all of you who are in the meeting, do you guys want me to, I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll turn on our cameras and you guys can ask questions. Is that okay? Someone say yes or, okay, we've got lots of thumbs. Okay, let me stop the recording.